Hey everyone, I got a very special guest for you today. I highlighted some new guests on the daily financial news this morning, and here is our first one. Let's welcome Rohan to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Michael. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. It's an honor to be on this podcast
Absolutely.
with you.
I've been excited for this one. Somebody on your team reached out the last couple of weeks wanting to talk about limiting beliefs. That is something we all suffer from. And I look forward to this interview helping me, because one of the things that I will freely admit is I had a target, I had a goal. It took me 15 years to get there, right? I worked my ass off during the day so I could invest and buy and hold real estate in the evenings and weekends. I got
Yeah,
to my goal of financial independence. And, I freely admit I still struggle today, right? What are my goals? What is that kick in the pants, the fire, or whatever it is? I'm frankly probably too comfortable today, and I've been looking forward to this conversation just to see what I can take from it. So, thanks for having your team reach out. Make sure you give them an attaboy. That was pretty cool.
I will. I will. My
Awesome.
team is fantastic at what
Yeah.
they're doing. So
So
I'm really proud of them.
why don't you introduce us, Rohan, to who is Rohan, what you do in this world? Give us your story. Take as long as you would like.
Cool. So wanted to share my journey of where I started
Hmm.
and then where I'm today, right?
Hmm.
So I practically started from nothing, which is probably what 95% of all the entrepreneurs' journey is.
Yeah.
But I started from nothing, and I grew up in India, and my dad kind of he traveled a lot.
Hmm.
So we moved from one city to another city, and I was never in one market or in one city for more than 4 years ever in my
Mm.
life.
Okay.
So I've traveled and moved a lot.
Hmm.
And then my only goal was like growing up to have that freedom,
Okay.
the freedom to be able to not be constrained by any kind of constraints in general, financial constraints or being tied to any particular geography
Hmm.
or having being tied to any one particular job. I didn't
Yeah.
want to be constrained, so wanted the freedom. Growing up, I saw how hard my mom and dad kind of struggled
Yeah.
to, help raise me and my brother, and I did not want to be in that position at all. So it was a really strong urge. I was not a straight A student growing up, but things changed in my 10th grade and kind of high school
All right.
kind of area. And I got really serious about it. And I had a couple of my mentors and teachers who helped me kind of groom a certain way. And I started developing subconsciously something called as the one thing. I started focusing on just one thing at a time. And
Mm.
then that instantly like catapulted me into like one of the Ivy Leagues in India.
Oh
So it
wow.
was like to get in, you have to have a 99 percentile plus
Mm.
kind of score. So super fortunate to have been there. And then things took a completely drastically different turn after that, right?
Okay.
So kind of started ascending, my career started ascending, and got into companies like Samsung, went to South Korea and worked on the very first touchscreen phone. So iPhone released in 2007,
Right.
and then Samsung was like, oh my God, we need to do something about this. And they were like, okay, they started launching the first Galaxy phone. So I was one of the software engineers for that.
Wow. Okay.
But I never really enjoyed being a software engineer. I was more of an artsy kind of person. I
Uh-huh.
loved being with people. I loved directly helping them. I was never a computer person kind of guy, not a
Yeah.
cubicle kind of guy.
Got it.
So I'm like, this was this urge inside of me to explore and venture and figure out what else is out there. And I realized marketing was kind of what my draw was,
Okay.
like when I talk to people, understand it. So I got my MBA. So I came to US. I got my MBA from Indiana University, Kelley School of Business.
Hmm.
Went on to be a product manager, marketer for a lot of Fortune 500 companies like Whirlpool, Walmart, Safeway, and then I have always been wanting that, the financial freedom, and then
Yep.
having rentals and things like that. I got onto bigger pockets and I learned a ton. And then I was like, you know what, I need to get into real estate sooner rather
Right.
than later. And then I changed my gears. I shifted to realtor.com.
Got it.
So
So
I
real quick,
started.
Rohan, what year are we right now? So you've got your MBA, you found bigger pockets, you're absorbing, you're probably spending hours on hours and hours there. What year is that? Just so I can get a time frame in my mind.
So this was 2013,
Oh, okay.
2014.
I got you. All right. So good time to start. Yep. All right. Go ahead. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So, and then I started working with realtor.com right about 2015, 2016.
Okay.
So moved to California and then did their marketing, did their SEO, kind of understood how the real estate works. And then I got my first house
Okay.
in California. So I had an option to, I was reading up and this was a fork. So should I buy my first house to live in?
Yep.
Or should I like invest
Yeah.
and be that a rental property? Should I get a duplex? Should I get a fourplex?
Sure.
I almost went in and purchased a fourplex, but then a lot of things changed and we decided to buy a house for ourselves.
Okay.
So I have a house in San Jose
Mm-hmm.
and went on to be like this really successful Silicon Valley product manager,
Yep.
right? And then I was like, it was kind of getting plateaued for me. Like this is not going to give me, this is not what I wanted in the first place. Like I wanted
Right.
freedom, and I'm tying myself to all these constraints. And then this past year, I quit all of that,
Okay.
and then I started my company, Ford Digital
Yep.
here.
Cool.
So work with realtors and I bring them pre-qualified leads for them, basically lead generation, qualifying them with an in-house like call center so that they only work with like highly qualified leads.
Okay.
So I think so I left all of that. So it was a super success
Right.
in the last 10, 15 years. And then I left all of that and now I'm starting from scratch. It's been like 7, 8 months now and I'm still not breaking even. I'm
Right.
still not profitable. So I'm starting from scratch, but I know the process. I believe in the process. I trust the process,
Sure.
and I know where I'm going, and I'm super, super excited about it.
Awesome. So I want to peel back your journey before you transition to your new enterprise, which we will spend a lot of time on, because I think people need to hear it. And these are my words, not yours. But, you had a great run, right? Starting from 10th grade, your one thing, your focus. That took you on what arguably most people and probably your family would call success, right? You were
Right.
right. You were successful at Walmart and Whirlpool, and then you came to the Valley, the Silicon Valley. You're a successful product manager here. You have this little itch on the side to do something. You're feeding it with bigger pockets, but during the day, you know, people looking at you, you're successful, right?
Right.
But it wasn't filling your cup, right? You knew there was something else.
Absolutely.
And, I'm always curious, what was that? Because there's always one thing. Well, my experience, there's always one thing that kind of is that thing that goes, okay, I'm done. I'm not going back to doing product marketing for this or that company. Do you remember what that was? Or maybe for you it was a couple things.
There were a lot of things
Okay.
like throughout. Like at Walmart, I knew that there was so much that was getting wasted. Like I was spending 9 to 5 doing a lot of things. I'm like, why should I be spending time doing this? Like
Yeah.
this is not meaningful to me right now. I'm making somebody else rich.
Right.
I need to make myself wealthy first,
Sure.
and then I can give back to the society who actually need it.
Okay.
Instead, I'm working for a Fortune 500.
You're
I'm
one
helping
small
them
cog in the
grow.
wheel. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. But don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm here because of all the things that they have provided for
Oh,
me,
for
like
sure.
Whirlpool, Walmart. They gave me really good brand. They gave me really good learning experience. And I'm here because of
Oh, yeah.
where I have come from.
Yeah.
But like in that moment, I was like, there is so much more I can be doing.
Yeah.
than spending in this cubicle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do I network with people? How do I go out? And then I used to wait for like till 5 p.m., 6 p.m. in the evening, and then
Sure.
go out and network. And I wanted that to be more like a full time,
Got
right?
it.
And then I'm like, okay, I need to probably move. So this was in Arkansas, Bentonville,
Yeah. I know it. I've been
and
there.
Whirlpool is in Michigan, Benton Harbor, really small towns. And I'm like, I need bigger. Like I
Yeah.
need to be in a bigger place. And then I chose Silicon Valley, and I came here, and
Now, what year
it's
was that? Was that 2017, 18? When was that?
16.
16. Okay. Got it.
2016 is when I came to California. Got my house in 2018. And I'm like, okay, I need to. This is bigger, bigger, bigger. And I'm like,
Right.
I was getting everything that I wanted. I'm like,
Right.
okay, I need to be more successful. I need to be the product manager that people look
Right.
up to. Silicon Valley product manager, probably one of the best,
Hmm.
most envious jobs
For
in the
sure.
country.
For sure.
And I got it. I'm like, okay, this is it. This is the pinnacle. This is the plateau. And then like I was there, and then like 6 months, 8 months in, I realized that no, this is not it. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this is not it. This is not
Yeah.
freedom. And then I'm like, okay, enough is enough. I
Yep.
need to move on. And
Very
that's
cool.
when I started this.
Got it. Got it. It's interesting. Again, right? Most people would see that career path. You'd get to that level. Yeah, product management in the Bay Area. That's the gig, right? So I agree with you. But still, you jump off the hamster wheel. You make a go of something on your own. You know, you're losing money, right? Your words, not
Oh
mine.
yeah.
Still. So where do you want to go? I mean, we open this with limiting beliefs. Why don't we dive in
Yeah.
those 3 limiting beliefs, and then we can get on to your story with your company.
Yeah, absolutely. So want to talk about what limiting beliefs is, kind of define what that is,
Yep.
so
Cool.
that we can all be on the same page, right? So limiting beliefs is we all have beliefs. We all understand certain things to be true, and it has to be driven by your parents, your upbringing, your society, your cultural influences, whatever those may be. They tell you that the world runs in a certain way,
Mm,
and you start believing it.
yeah.
The world runs in a certain way, and you start believing it. And then there is nobody to challenge that, because you are surrounded by the people who have similar limiting beliefs. Your friends kind of give the same kind of beliefs to you. You all share similar belief systems.
Yeah.
And then if you're like, hey, you need to work hard, make money,
Yeah.
buy a house,
Well,
and
you're
then
describing what most people would call the rat race. We all get in and we're like stuck.
exactly.
You just got to keep running. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's been it's also been tagged as the American dream,
Yeah, it's
right?
true. Yeah, good point.
So this rat race it becomes an American dream, and then everybody is like, okay, let me get that house, and then I'll pay mortgage for 30 years, and then I'll be happy after that. So one of the limiting beliefs that entrepreneurs, like by definition, they kind of challenge these things. They
Yes.
take risk and they challenge these limiting beliefs. But these beliefs are so deeply rooted that the problem with limiting beliefs is you don't know that they're actually limiting your potential.
Yeah.
There is nobody telling you that that is what is happening. Like, for example, if you start, entrepreneurship is hard, and 95% of the companies, or whatever the statistics is, fail
Yeah.
because of this particular reason. Like, there is nobody to tell you what to expect. Like, everybody's like, okay, this is going to be hard, but how do you quantify it?
Yeah.
Like, what is hard?
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
hard.
What is hard?
Is it hard for 3 months? Is it hard for 2 years? Is it hard for 5 years?
Yeah.
Give me an expectation
Right.
that I can run with, and then I will have my head down. I will hunker down for 2 years, and then work in this process, and then I'll wake up, and then things will start happening.
Mm,
Right? There is nobody to tell you this,
right.
and then it differs from industry to industry. It differs from person to person. So those are the limiting beliefs, and one of the limiting beliefs that I tell my realtor clients is, like, they all look for, they become a real estate agent the first time, and they all start looking for listings.
Yep.
They all start looking for quality leads, but they don't and their limiting beliefs is there are no quality leads. Like all the Facebook ads, YouTube ads, Instagram ads, Zillow, Realtor.com, whatever, all the lead sources is crap. Like, how do I get that elusive lead generation? What is that unicorn lead generation company running through the meadows? Like, how do I get that? Uh, the sad news is there is no unicorn. It is quantity first. So the process needs to be like, you need to have, like, if you look at the successful realtors, they have 100 plus sources of lead generation, each of them bringing in tens of hundreds of leads every single month. And this is like super successful realtors.
Sure.
Even at a small scale successful realtors, they have 5, 10, 15 lead sources, and they all focus on quantity first.
Okay.
And you need to be able to bring in enough quantity. And the same thing goes for real estate investors. Like, if they are looking for the next rental property to purchase, like, they are looking for door-to-door flyers. They'll probably buy some FSBOs. They'll probably go on RedX, and they'll invest in 1 or 2 or 3 different lead sources, and they're like, this is not working.
Right.
So the inventory today is lower than it probably ever was.
Certainly in my market, I've never seen it this low.
Yeah, it's low in almost every single market. And having said that, there are deals going on even today.
Oh, for sure.
The reason deals are going on even today is these realtors are able to tap in to multiple different sources and have these options open all the time.
Agreed.
It is more expensive. The cost of acquisition is probably more expensive today, but you need to be able to look at it from a cost of acquisition standpoint. And that's one of the first limiting beliefs.
Okay. I like it. Very cool. All right. I like that one. And again, it really plays to real estate entrepreneurs, whether you're wholesaling, flipping apartments, multifamily, right? Where are deals? Well, you got to get closer to the owners, right? And,
Exactly.
Historically speaking, that meant, you wait for them to list, you wait for them to put in the MLS. Well, that's not today, right? There's lots of sources: Driving for Dollars, Craigslist, mailers, cold calling, texting, and go on and on and on and on. So I get it. I think what you're highlighting with realtors plays for investors as well. So I like limiting belief number 1. What you got for number 2?
So number 2 is probably my favorite one.
All right.
A lot of people, and I have these examples focused on realtors because I work with them more.
That's okay.
A lot of realtors focus on, how do I get more closings? Because more closings means more cash flow for them.
Sure. That's where their check shows up. Yep.
Exactly. And the same thing translates on to real estate entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
And it translates onto any single entrepreneur. Like, how do I get that next client of mine? How do I get that next listing of mine? How do I get that next rental property of mine? How do I get that next closing of mine? The problem is, we as a society are so result and goal driven. Like, we always focus on results. What are our goals? It's fantastic to have these goals, but you should not take shortcuts to get these goals. And what happens is, if you have weekly goals, come Friday, you'll be like, okay, how do I take shortcuts to get to my goal?
Right.
If you have monthly goals, how do I take shortcuts? We give out discounts. Yes, and that's fine to hit your goals. But what fundamentally needs to change is the inputs. So you don't really control the outcomes. You don't control how many clients will close with you today. What you can control is how many clients you call, so that the probability that if your closing ratio is 10%, you need to call 100 people to close 10 people. Right. So you only control the inputs.
Yeah. So I agree with this one so much. And again, my track record was 20 years of selling software in the Silicon Valley. And what that means is every year and every quarter, I had a number around my neck, right? A quota. And what made me and my teams wildly successful is we almost never talked about the quota, right? It wasn't the quota.
My God.
It was,
Awesome. Yeah.
okay, what leads to a deal, right? And we would absolutely work backwards, right? So, you need 3 deals to close. Well, okay, that means you have to do 6 negotiations. To get 6 negotiations, you have to do 12 quotes. To get to 12 quotes, you have to have 24 proof of concepts. To get 24, you have to have 48 new meetings. And from 48 new meetings, you had to have 100 phone calls, whatever it is. And all we would talk about, except for like the last day of the quarter where, we could get fired if we don't hit it. we would talk about the other 89 days, we would talk about something in that, because
Exactly.
it's only quantity in the top, and then you can argue about conversions. That's all we ever talked about. Hey, Mike, your conversion from step 2 to 3 is 2x anyone else's. What are you doing special there? What are you doing different? What does your POC look like? Right? Somebody else, wow, you have 2x the number of people in the pipeline. You're getting meetings, but you can't convert out. You have the highest in, lowest out. That's the magic of this business. If you're a real estate entrepreneur or a real estate agent, work backwards. If you're a wholesaler, work backwards. And again, stop focusing on the dollars. It's, what are the 17 things that lead up to it? And then you're talking about conversions. That's the magic of this business.
Right. So this always got me super curious, right? I'm still trying to crack it. So I would love to hear your opinion.
Okay.
Like, why do people it's not like people don't know that this is the process, right? It's not like people don't understand that they have to work backwards. Some people don't, but for the most part, people are starting to understand that they have to work backwards. But why do people, in your opinion, why do people focus more on the dollars come end of the quarter?
Well, it's pretty obvious. So first and foremost, most people don't do this at all. I mean, I've been to 1,000 QBRs, quarterly business reviews, and it always starts with, this is how Mike did, this is how Mark did, this is how Mary did, this is how Raj did, and it's always the quota. I've only been, the only QBRs I ever went to, quarterly business review, that's what QBR stands for, that talked about the volume and the conversions were mine. That was it. Everybody else is, hey, he did 506% of quota. Woohoo. Oh, dude, you only did 37% of quota. You're bad, right? It's QBRs are run wrong, first off. Second, the thing around my neck, that was the only thing measured by outside forces. So I went to my yearly sales award ceremony based on this number, right? Product managers, you were on this number, right? No product manager. Let me make sure. I can only think of one actually, product manager that would ever talk to me about this process. And it was because we had a problem at proof of concept. We could get people there, but it would smack into a POC and we couldn't get anybody out. It was too hard, too difficult. Results didn't, whatever it was, right? That was about the only time a product manager ever got involved, is when we could do our job, our sales job, getting to proof of concept. Then we stood up the software. And if it didn't come out, then we went back to the product manager and said, that's your problem. You freaking fix this thing. But that's the only time the product manager cares. So I think you are, you're living in never land to think that people talk about this. Again, I have been to not thousands, but 500-600 QBRs. Nobody talks about this stuff.
Really?
Not in my quota, not in my plan, not in my yearly business review.
Right.
No sales leader ever talked to me about it. It was, the only people that did it were my team. And that's why I think 18 out of 19 years we exceeded our numbers. It's because that's all we ever talked about.
Wow. And do you see that translate over to investors and entrepreneurs also?
Absolutely.
Like small business owners?
It is this, if you have an end result that can be measured, meaning you and I could look at it and we get the same result, we're good. But if the end result is like figure skating, where judge from Russia says this and judge from, I don't want to play in that world, right? I hate gray. I hate gray, right? My mind does not work well with gray. I want black or white, and I can work in black and white. And I've helped many entrepreneurs. I've helped wholesalers, right? Wholesalers they quit their job and they're like, hey, I need 10 grand a month. I'm like, well, great. What's your average assignment fee? Oh, well, it's 5 grand. Well, that means you need 2. Well, how many people do this and how many people did that? And then I said, all of your focus should be up here. And then I want to talk to you about your conversions, because maybe you're wrong, right? In the beginning, when you do this the first time, because I took 2 products from 0 to 100 million. And
Yeah.
the first time we do this process, we have to guess what our
Yeah.
conversions are. We take a
Yeah.
best shot. We run at it. Sometimes we're right positive. Sometimes we're wrong horribly. And then we start adding grease where there's problems, and it goes from there. So that's the only way to do it. Is you take your goal and you work backwards. And oh, by the way, backwards is not 3 steps. I promise you,
Yeah.
anytime you're selling something, it's 7, 8, 10, 12 steps.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like we go in our team. So in our team, like we are constantly sourcing more and more realtors, right?
Yeah.
So for every single deal, we need to have certain number of demo calls.
Yeah, of course.
And let's say for one single closing, we probably need about 4 or 5 demo calls.
Awesome.
Okay. So for every demo call, we need about like 10 intro calls, for example.
Exactly.
And that 10 intro appointments you need probably like 10 people to look at it, and then different channels are different. So we go back so many steps. It all goes back to how much are we investing in what channels to
top
bring
of funnel.
in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because then once you in the beginning, right, you're working through this process, you just don't know. So you take a shot because you got to move forward. Yeah. And then when you have 60, 90 days, wherever the volume is for you, then you go back and go, okay, what ratios were right or wrong? Which one feels most out of whack or we got wrong the most? Is there something we could do different? I mean, that example of the POC is a great example, right? We could get the value pitch was great. The first meeting was great. When we got to stand up the POC, it broke. That was a problem that we could fix together, right? So maybe in this market, it's okay. We can get lead source. We can get people interested, whatever it is. But that is the magic to being a successful entrepreneur. If you were selling something and you were quota based, I promise you, if you take the time to work backwards, and then, oh, by the way, again, to the earlier point, 89 out of 90 days, all we talked about was this.
Process.
I would do how many forecast calls have I been on where we only talked about this freaking number? None of my forecast calls were about this number. It was, how are we doing? Because I would ask them, I would ask them, how many POCs did we do today? Why did I want to know that? Because I knew a POC today would lead to this and this would lead to that. How many first meetings did we have? Because I could find out who was busting their ass and who was not busting their ass based on this. Where if you're only talking about quota, sales reps can hide. Sales reps, you know what? Sales reps lie, right? Yeah. I can create an upside with a stroke of a freaking fingers in Salesforce. Oh, I have coverage ratio. Don't fire me because I have that big magic deal that's going to happen in Q4. My ass, you've been freaking playing golf, every goddamn day. While you're interviewing for another job, you're just lying to me. I mean, I could spot that shit quick. So anyways. So
absolutely.
That's number 2, huh?
That's number 2.
I like that one, clearly. All right. What do you got for number 3?
So the number 3, the third one, of course, this is the final limiting belief that I have, is a lot of people, when they start out and when they don't have a lot of support, or when they don't have like the proof of concept, or even when they're like struggling and they have a few clients here and there, they are looking for approval. Mm-hmm. They're looking for approval from their friends. They're looking for approval from their clients. They're looking for approval from everybody else. Yeah, validation. Yeah. So the validation is different from feedback. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for feedback is objective. Mm-hmm. This is not the market that you should go after. Approval is, wow, you're doing so good. Attaboy. Pat on the back. Yeah, exactly. So the third limiting belief is if you need approval, you're not going to get it. Right. You should instead focus on providing the support, giving the feedback, confidence, and nurture other people. Give approval to others, and you will start receiving approvals in return. Yeah, I totally agree. Reciprocation. Yeah. Yeah. If we had less people looking for the attaboys or the thumbs up and the hearts that we've all been addicted to on social media, life would be much better. If you gave out more hearts and thumbs up than you got, I promise you your thumbs up and hearts would go up. It's that simple. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Pretty amazing. And a lot of leaders in my experience has been in Silicon Valley. So I know that a lot of leaders, good leaders, they they have two things that they expect of their employees and subordinates, right? The first one is accountability, of course. Like
Mhm.
if you
Yeah,
have
of
been given
course.
a task,
Yep.
you're responsible for it. You're accountable for it.
I
Do
have the
you
quota
work your
every
ass
90
off?
days. I know what accountability is.
Exactly. So that's number one. And the
Mhm.
second thing is clarity.
Ah, yes.
Clarity is, do you know exactly what to do to hit your goals?
Yep.
Like, do you, the 7 or 8 steps that we backtrace,
Yeah.
do you know that these are the things that you have to do? Like,
Hmm.
you have to send out 5 proposals every single day. You
Yep.
have to write one blog article every single week. You have
Exactly.
to go live on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube twice a week. Like, the process,
Hmm.
like, do you know exactly what are the steps, irrespective of what the outcome is?
Right.
Like, do you know what the process is to get to the goals? Like, I guarantee you that if you follow these steps,
Yeah.
irrespective of what happens at the outcome, you will be successful.
Mm.
And when you do that, that is what gives you clarity, and that is how good leaders are able to produce awesome results,
Yeah. I like it. That's
right?
powerful. Yeah. Very
Yeah.
cool.
So having that process, like, know exactly that you have to post 2 Instagram posts and you will have a closing in the next 3 months.
Hmm.
So having that kind of clarity avoids, takes off all the emotion. Have been doing this for 2 months. I
Yeah.
still don't have a listing. I've been doing this for 3 years. I still am not at $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, have the expectations, have the clarity up front,
Yep.
and then if you hunker down, you're gonna hit your
Yeah.
results.
Then it just becomes that task list that you just execute like swinging a hammer. You
Exactly.
remove the emotion. Yeah. I agree 1,000%. You have to remove emotion. Emotion's dangerous because it can help you or hurt you. And that son of a gun is sneaky too, right out of nowhere. Bam! Right? You have one bad phone call and suddenly you think you're the worst salesperson ever. No, maybe the other person had a bad day, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
Just pick
Yeah.
up the phone and talk to the next person, right? I cut my teeth cold calling, God, almost 2.5 decades ago. And you just had to keep going, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you pick up the phone, bang, 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 bang. You have that nasty phone call. And if you run away, if the problem is if you have a nasty phone call for whatever reason, and if you don't pick up the phone immediately to make the next call, you're toast for the day. You're just done, right? You're going to run,
Yeah.
hide, chit chat in the cubicle. The key you have to do if you have a bad phone call is make the next phone call, because it's very,
Exactly.
very rare you'll have two in a row.
You know,
That's just how numbers work.
yeah. Even if it is 2 in a row, like the third person, or even if
Yeah.
you have to do one more,
You
like,
have to never end on a bad call, ever.
exactly.
Never end on a bad call. Very, very
Yeah.
cool.
And
Well, tell me what you're doing at this new company of yours. So let's celebrate that. It seems like you're
um
playing in the realtor space.
so yeah, I mean, I've been in real estate for about 5 years now,
Yep.
right? This was in 2016 when I mean, I've been looking to invest almost for 7 years now.
Yeah.
So that's when I started. I found bigger pockets and stuff like that. But been in real estate for actively for about 5 years now. Did the SEO marketing for Realtor.com.
Right.
Did a lot of analytics, marketing analytics for them. Um, and then I was with this company called 10x Commercial,
Mm-hmm.
which is a sister company, which was a sister company of auction.com.
Oh, okay.
So 10x Commercial kind of got bought up by another company, which has LoopNet, apartments.com.
Sure.
Um, so so I've been in real estate there for about, I was there for 4 years, and I've been doing this full time now because I kind of know how to market, I kind of know how to generate leads, and it's the process. I emphasize on what steps needs to be. Like, you can have you can have leads from Facebook, you can have leads from Google, you can have leads from Instagram, but
Sure.
they all, just because you have leads coming in doesn't mean you'll have a listing. So they
Right.
all need to go into a process. It has to be in a CRM. You
Yep.
have to nurture them, follow up with them, and things like that. So
Yeah.
that's what I've been putting together.
Okay.
And so we are at about 25K a month now.
Nice.
in the last 6 months now. So
Okay.
looking to grow this in the next
And then
one
who
and
are
a half
your
years.
users? I'm guessing it's realtors or brokerages.
Exactly. So these
Okay.
are realtors and brokers. These are team leads who are looking to grow, because when they are looking to grow, so the
So
team leads.
hold on. So I'm guessing based on the whole story I've heard so far, you're essentially giving them the piping, right, to take the different lead sources. It's their job to, add dollars or whatever in front of funnel. You're the piping that allows it to consolidate, and then you're building in the nurturing, the lead gen, the conversion process. Call it a sales process, call it a lead process, call it whatever you want. That's what you do. You do that portion. It
Exactly.
sounds like okay. I get it.
Exactly. So they put in the dollars in the front, and then we generate leads, and
Yep.
then on the other side you have these warm qualified leads coming up.
Right. So the value proposition for a realtor is A, stop wasting money on marketing, right? B, accelerate identification of a quality lead. And then 3, streamline top of funnel to, you know, deal. I'm guessing that's kind of what you're advertising.
Absolutely. So the biggest value
Sure.
proposition
Mm-hmm.
is time.
Oh, sure. That's the only thing we can't get back. Yep.
Exactly. So there is 70% of the time
Uh-huh.
is spent in prospecting, is
Oh,
spent in figuring out, nurturing, following up, figuring out who is the
oh,
right lead, who is the
wasted time.
wrong
Come
lead.
on. Most
Exactly.
people say they're following up and they're not following up. Oh, I thought about calling so and so. Well, that doesn't really count.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And you have, oh, I spoke to this person. He was not really interested last time.
Well,
How is it going to change this
he didn't
time?
tell me no explicitly, so I'm going to consider that a warm lead still. Well, maybe not. Yeah. I've heard all the excuses in my time. It's pretty funny.
Exactly. So you have to kind of, and this is the emotion piece,
Yeah, of
right?
course.
So you have to put the emotion aside. It's a process.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like a meditative process. Like
Yeah.
you have to be numb to it. Like you have to put in X amount of dollars. You have to get an X amount of leads, and then follow
Absolutely.
them up through them. And then if you are not able to take emotion aside, completely outsource it
Mm-hmm.
to somebody who can actually do this for, or hire the
Yeah.
entire system in house and build it out. It's not too hard. You
Right.
just have to figure a way out to automate it.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, how
So,
can a realtor, a team lead, go learn more? Where should I send them? Send me a link so I can add it to the description, but tell me where they should go.
of course, so the quickest way to reach me is I want people I want to network with people, and the quickest way to reach me is on Instagram. They can real estate Rohan is my handle.
Cool.
So they can reach out, DM me, or even on Facebook, send a quick hi.
Okay.
And then within my DM or within my Instagram or Facebook, you'll find all the information. So as soon
Cool.
as you land, you'll know exactly where to click
Okay.
to go in and learn everything else.
Cool. Real estate Rohan. No periods, no dashes, no nothing. Real estate Rohan.
Yep.
Very cool. I will make that the first line of the description because not only will this go up on YouTube today, it'll go in a podcast. So I have to make sure I say it out loud. Real estate
That's fantastic.
Rohan Instagram page. Any closing comments? This has been a lot of fun for me, Rohan.
It's been fantastic, Michael. I think that my closing comments, of course, is for all the entrepreneurs. Like you have to hunker down. You have to put effort in the process.
Mhm.
Like take emotion aside. Do whatever it takes. Hire a coach who can constantly tell you, who can constantly audit your process. Like if you have to make 100 phone calls a week, are you making 100 phone calls, or have you hired somebody to make 100 phone calls so that you can focus on something else?
Yeah.
Have a process which is emotionless, and that is the best thing that you can do for your business.
Very cool, Rohan. Thank you for giving us some time. Good luck on your success and just keep working that process, man. You got it.
Thank you so much, Michael. Amazing pleasure being on
Yep.
your podcast.
Thanks, buddy.